Okay, so let's start from number 1. Number 1 is the prime factorization, right? So 21 split 21 is 3 and 7. So 21 is 3 times 7. Okay, so what are the primes that we should use for the prime factorization? So mainly is 2, 3, 5, and 7. And all the even numbers, you can use number 2, right? Number 2. And then for 5, the last digit is 0 or 5, right? Last digit 0 or 5. Okay, yeah. So other cases you consider 3 and 7. Okay, 3 and 7. So 48 is an even number, so you can use 2. 2 times 24, and then 2 times 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3, right? So now 48 is what? Is 4 number 2 and the number 3. So that is the prime factorization of 48. Okay, 48. So now what about 89? 89 is a prime number, right? You try 2 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work. It's a prime number, right? You just use the calculator to divide, right? 82 divided by 9, not integer. 89 divided by 2, sorry, 89 divided by 3, not integer. 89 divided by 5, not integer. 89 divided by 7, not integer. Then it's a prime number. Okay, yeah. So that's not officially the best method. So you have to go through all the prime numbers less than square root of 89. So we cheated a little bit. Just check 2, 3, 5, 7 here. Okay, yeah. So that's number 1. And number 2. So you are given 17 numbers. So okay, so now we want to make a histogram. Okay, so first we have to group them to 6 intervals, right? 6 intervals. Okay, so step 1 is important. We should reorder the list. Okay, it will be easy after you reorder the list. Okay, yeah. So the maximum is 100. And then after that, we have 97. And then 94. And then 92. So the next one is 86. 80. 74. 73. 71. 68. 64. 62. 46. And then we have 247. Okay, you should be careful. We have 237, and then 29 and 26. Okay, 26. Okay, so now we reorder the list. So this is the maximum 100, and this is the minimum 26. Okay, 26. So now first we have to calculate the size of the group width. Okay, for 6 groups. Okay, for 6 groups. So group width is max minus min divided by 6. We want 6 groups, right? So this is 100 minus 26 divided by 6. So this is 12.33, and then we go up. Okay, we go up to get 13. So the group width is 13. Okay, is 13. So now what are these groups, right? So from the smallest, so 26, and then 26 plus 13, 39. That's his first group, right? And then second group is from 39. So this side is strict less than or equal to x, and then we use 39 plus 13. So this is 52. And then group 3 is 52 less than or equal to x less than 52 plus 13. 4, 5, and 6, right? So 65 to 78, 78 to 91, and then 91 to 104. So each group has the width or the gap 13, right? The gap's 13. So this formula is a very important formula. We use maximum minus minimum divided by how many groups? Okay, 6 groups. Okay, 6 groups. Okay, so now we just need to tally, count how many given numbers in each group, right? In each group. So first group is 26 to 39. So 26 to 39. We have 4 numbers, right? These 4. And then the next group is 39 to 52. So that's the only one. And then 62, 52 to 65. We have 2 numbers. 65 to 78. 4 numbers, right? 78 to 91. 2 numbers. These 2. And then the last group, 4 numbers. Okay, 4 numbers. So after you make the group, you count how many given numbers in the group, and then we can make a histogram. So what's a histogram? So it's based on the x and y axis. So x-axis, we put the group. So 26 to 39 to 52, 65, these counting numbers, right? 78, 91, and then the last one, 104, right? So first group. So the maximum is 4 numbers for each group. So just label 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y side, okay? So this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay, so now 26 to 39, 4. And then the second group is 1. And then the third group is 2. So height means how many numbers for this group, right? And then we got 4 again, 65 to 78. And then we got 2. And then the last group is also 4. Okay, also 4. Then we got the histogram. Okay, yeah, so 6 groups, you got 6 bars. Okay, you got 6 bars. So that's our number 2. Okay, number 2. Okay, so the number 3 is picture question, right? First picture, so you cut here. We got 2 rectangles, right? And then the rectangles opposite side has the same length, so we know this is 5, this is 1, right? This is 1. So the top side is 5 plus 1, 6. Okay, so now what's the perimeter for the first question? So it's 6 plus 3. So we go this way or go the other way, doesn't matter, right? Yeah, you go around, you got the 5, 1, and then 4. You got the perimeter. Okay, go around. Okay, so first I find the missing length, 5 plus 1 is 6 on top, and add now odd numbers on the boundary. For the boundary, you got the perimeter. So now what's the area? So area for each rectangle is length times width, right? For the first one, we get 1, so it's 3, 5. So 3 times 5. And then for the second one, area 2 is 1, 4. So 1 times 4. So it's 15 plus 4, 19. Okay, 19. So that is for the first question. So now for the triangle is a little bit harder. We have to know the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing length, right? If I find the missing length. Okay, yeah, so this is side A that we want to find. So Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared. So this is a squared plus 9 squared is 13 squared. Then we got a squared plus 81 is 169. So a squared is 88. Then we got a is square root of 88. Then you got 9.38. Right, 9.38. Okay, so now we know the bottom length is 9.38. Then what's the area of this? Is half times the bottom, A. So it's 9.38 times the height 9. Okay, times the height 9. Use calculator, you will get 42.21. Okay, so formula for A is 1/2 times A times B, right? The side and then the height. Okay, side height. So this is the rectangle and the triangle area formula, right? So what's the perimeter? You just add these three sides, right? Add these three sides. The perimeter is 9 plus 13 plus 9.38. So this is 31.38. Okay, 38. Okay, so now let's look at this question C. So this is a part of the circle, right? The part of the circle, and this is 90 degrees, so basically is a quarter of the circle, right? If you cut the circle to 4 pieces, so that's the piece, right? So this part is the bottom right quarter, right? Bottom right quarter. Okay, so now what's the formula for the area of the circle? Is pi r squared, right? Pi r squared, and then this is question C is a quarter of this whole area, so the area is 1/4 times pi times r squared. R is 5, right? R is 5, so this is 5 squared. Okay, and then you use calculator, you can get 19.63. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now what's the perimeter? Perimeter is 5 plus 5, 2 radius plus this arc length, right? Arc length. So this arc length is also 1/4 of the whole circle, right? Of the whole circle. So what's the whole circle? 2 pi r. That's the length of the whole circle. Okay, so P will be 10 plus 1/4 times 2 pi times 5. Okay, times 5. So now you got 17.85. Use calculator. Okay, use calculator. So this one, the harder part is you have to figure out this question C is a quarter of the circle, right? Is a quarter of the circle. So that's number 3, right? That's number 3. Okay, so now starting from number 4, we have some finance problem, right? Finance problem. So first one is simple interest, right? So what's the simple interest formula? So the future value is the principal times 1 plus RT, right? RT. So for this example, the principal is the $4,000 in the beginning. Okay, you put $4,000 in the saving account, and then R is the rate, right? Annual interest rate is R, so this is 5%, and then times how many years? 3 years, right? So R is 5%, T is 3 years. Okay, 3 years, and then you use calculator, you got $4,600. So that's the future value. So now what's the interest? Interest will be the future value minus the principal. Then we got $600. Okay, $600. So you have to remember this formula for the simple interest. Okay, for simple interest. Okay, so the next question is compound interest. So we have a different formula, right? Yeah. But before we talk about compound interest, you have to look at how often the interest will be compounded, right? Compounded. So this is compounded monthly, so that means the annual rate is 5%, but for each month is 5% divided by 12, right? Divided by 12. And still, now T is 3 years, right? So now N will be 3 times 12, which is 36 months. Okay, so that's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. We have to calculate the I based on the months and then the N based on the months, right? Before we look at the formula. So now what's the future value formula? Future value is the principal times 1 plus I to the nth power, right? To the nth power. So this is $4,000, same principal, and then 1 plus 5% divided by 12, that is I, and then 36 months, right? 36 months. So now I use the calculator, I got $4,000 times, so only this part, you will get the decimal number 1.161472231, right? So now the future value is 4,645.89, okay, 0.89. So you have to practice this part using the calculator. Okay, using the calculator, how to put the base and then how to put the big powers, right? 36 power of the base. Okay, of the base. Okay, so now what's the interest? Interest is the future value minus P. So this is 4,645.89 minus 4,000. So this is 645.89. Okay, 0.89. So you just need to remember the formula. Okay, so here I and N depend on how often the interest compounded, right? The interest compounded. So the next question is similar, but we change it to compounded quarterly. Okay, you can compare 5 and 6. Okay, compare 5 and 6. So now for this quarterly, so every year has 4 quarters, right? So R is still the same, 5%, but this time I will be 5% divided by 4. So now T is still 3 years, and N is 3 times 4, so we choose 12 quarters. Okay, yeah. So for number 5, we got months, and then monthly interest, and then now we need quarters, right? I for quarters, and then 12 quarters for 3 years. Okay, 3 years. So after that, it's just the same formula, right? 1 plus I to the N. So future value is $4,000 times 1 plus 5% divided by 4 to the 12th power, right? 12th power. So use calculator. You will get this is 4,643.02. Okay. So now same thing. Interest is future value minus P. Then we got 4,643.02 minus $4,000. So the 643.02. Okay, 02. So now we have 2 formulas for the finance part, right? So this is for simple interest, and then this is for compound interest. Okay, compound interest. Okay, so now the last formula for this is the other way around, right? Yeah, so you didn't borrow money, so you deposit, you put money every month in the bank, and then we calculate the future value, right? Future value. So this is the ordinary annuity with monthly payment, right? Monthly payment. So here 500 is monthly payment. Okay, yeah. So this is annuity with monthly payment. Okay, so this is the third formula. So future value is the payment times 1 plus I to the nth power minus 1 divided by I. Okay, so now for compound interest, we have 2 formulas, right? Yeah. So future value is P times 1 plus I to the nth power. So if you know the principal value, right? So this is the compound interest formula for the future value. So now here we don't know the principal. We know the monthly payment. Then you have to use this new formula. Okay, so I will put these 2 formulas on the board. Okay, these 2, because it's harder to remember, right? It's harder to remember. Okay, so now let's delete this principal formula for future value compound interest. Let's just use this monthly payment formula. Okay, so now what's the monthly payment? Monthly payment is $500. So what's the I? I again is R divided by 12 because this is monthly, right? Compounded monthly. So 6% divided by 12. Again, I is R divided by 12. I is 6% divided by 12. And then same thing. So N will be how many years? 10 years, right? 10 years. So 10, T is 10. So N will be 10 times 12, 120 months, right? 120 months. Minus 1 divided by I, so I is 6% divided by 12. Divided by 12. So you have to use your calculator to get this number correctly. Okay, so that's not an easy job, right? That's not an easy job. Okay, so now what I got future value is 500 times 163.8793468. You don't have to keep that many decimal digits. You can use 3 or 4 decimal places. That's good enough. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. So this is The harder part, use calculator to practice. Okay. So now $500 times this is the whole future value. So you got $81,939.67. Okay, 67. So you deposit $500 a month for 10 years. After the compound interest, you will get that much, right? That much. So now what's the total contribution, right? Contribution is this $500. So you deposit 120 months, so this is 60,000. Okay, 60,000. So now what's the extra part? Extra part, okay, compare these two numbers. The extra part will be the interest part, right? The interest part. So the interest is future value minus this total contribution. This is 81,939.67 minus 60,000. This is 21939. I is $0.67. Okay, $67. Okay, yeah. So if you know principal, you use the principal formula. If you know the payment, you use the payment formula, right? Payment formula. Okay, so that is number 7, right? That is number 7. Okay, yeah. So now what is number 8? Number 8 is the other way, right? Number 8 is the other way. So now you still want to make an annuity plan, but you don't know the monthly payment. You know your goal in 10 years is 100,000. Okay, yeah. So it's the same formula. Okay, but this time you know the future value, you want to get the payment. Okay, so what's number 7? Number 7, you know the monthly payment, and then use this formula, just multiply, you got the future value. Okay, future value. Okay, so now this time we know the future value, so the future value is 100,000, right? And then this is the payment, so times 1 plus I to the n minus 1 divided by I, right? Divided by I. So we want to know the payment. How to get the payment? You have to use future value divided by this complicated thing. Okay, yeah, so let's change the formula from multiplication to division. So this will be future value divided by 1 plus I to the nth power minus 1 over I. Okay, over I. So it's the same formula. So number 7, we know monthly payment. We want to get future value. Number 8, we know the future value. We want to get the monthly payment. Okay, payment. So the calculation is very similar. Just one is multiplication, the other one is division. Okay, so now the monthly payment is 100,000 divided by. So now what is I? I is the same, right? So it's R divided by 12 because this is still compound monthly. Right? Monthly payment, right? Monthly payment. Okay, so now this is 6% divided by 12. Okay, and it's still 10 years, so T is 10, so N is 10 times 12, it's the same thing, 120 months, right? Yeah, so I use the same number, just different direction of the question, right? Yeah, so this is 6% divided by 12 to the 120th power minus 1 divided by 6% divided by 12, right? Divided by 12. Okay, yeah. So now the monthly payment is $100,000 divided by 163.879348. Okay, so now again, the harder part is use this formula to get that number. Use your calculator. Okay, use your calculator. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now this division give us the monthly payment is $610.21. Okay, 21 cents. So now for the last formula in the finance part, you have to remember two directions, right? If they give you the monthly payment, multiply. If they give you the future value, divide, right? Divide. Okay, essentially they are the same formula. Okay, essentially they are the same formula. Okay, so now we have another question about this kind of compound interest, right? Compound interest. So we put these two formulas together, right? Two formulas together. So step one, we will use the future value is the principal times 1 plus I to the nth power to find the future value. And then step two, we try to find the monthly payment using the division. Okay, because step one, we already get the future value, right? Future value. Okay, and then after you find the monthly payment, so this is the schedule, and this is the column for monthly payment, right? Payment. So every month we put the same number down here, right? We put the same number down here. Okay, so now let's try to calculate. So future value is, so you borrowed $60,000, right? And then is again monthly, right? Compound monthly payment. So this will be the R 6.5% divided by 12, right? And the N will be 5 years. So 5 times 12, 60 months, right? 60 months. Okay, yeah. So let's put this here. I is 6.5% divided by 12, and then N is 5 years times 12. Okay, times 12. Then we got future value is, use calculator, you got 82969.04. Okay, so now the monthly payment, right? Monthly payment, you borrow this money, after 5 years you have to pay that much, right? In step one, and then whatever the monthly payment you got is still also compound interest, right? Compound interest. So this will be the future value you got in step 1, 0904 divided by 1 plus 6.5% divided by 12 to the 60 power minus 1 over 6.5% divided by 12. So it's very important for you to write down the formula and then write down the substitution. Don't just give me a number, because I don't know how did you get the number, right? If one number is wrong, one calculation is wrong, you click one wrong button on the calculator, you lost everything, right? You lost everything. Okay, so now you click calculator. We got the monthly payment is 1,173 and then 97 cents. Okay, 97 cents. Okay, yeah. So now this is the monthly payment. So now step 3, we got the total payment and then total interest, right? Total interest. So we pay this for how many months? 60 months, right? 60 months. So total payment is 1173.97 times 60, so which is 70438.2, right? And then the total interest, right? We borrowed 60,000, and then eventually we paid a little bit more than 70,000, right? So the total interest will be this minus the 60,000, which is 10438.2. Okay, 0.2. So that's what we have before the schedule, right? Before the schedule. Okay, so now we have to make the schedule. So now for the schedule, the first line is easy, right? The month 0, we start the plan, we start the contract. So payment number 0, and then beginning balance is 60,000, right? Is 60,000. Okay, so now we also know step 2 give us the monthly payment. So that's the number for every month in this schedule, right? So every month we pay the same amount. Okay, we pay the same amount. Okay, so now we have to calculate the principal portion and then the interest portion in this monthly payment, right? In this monthly payment. So this is a very long question, okay? You have to be patient. This is the longest, the hardest question. And again, I will put those two formulas in step 1, step 2 on the board, right? On the board. Okay, so now let's first calculate payment 1. Right, so what's the total payment? 1173.97, right? 97. Okay, so now how to calculate the interest portion, right? This is the simple interest, right? Simple interest amortized loan, right? Simple interest amortized loan. Okay, so that's our I1, the first interest part. So it will be the balance times the I, right? The interest for every year is 6.5%, and then divided by 12, right? Divided by 12. Okay, so this is the beginning balance times the I, right? The I. So this is 325, right? 325. So this is the first interest, portion, interest part, right? 325. Okay, yeah. So now what's the principal portion, right? What's the principal portion? Is the payment, monthly payment minus the interest part. Okay, then I got 848.97. Okay, so this is our principal portion for the first payment, 848.97. Okay, so that's the order. You calculate the interest, you calculate the principal, and then eventually we calculate the new balance B1, right? The new balance B1. So what's the new balance? Is the beginning balance, right? Minus the principal part you already paid. Okay, yeah, so it's the old balance minus the P1. We got the new balance, which is 59151.03. Okay, so we got, after the first payment, the balance is 59151.03. Okay, 03. Okay, so now this will be the new balance for the next payment. Okay, for the next calculation. Okay, for the next calculation. Okay, yeah, so now we will also have I2, P2, and B2. That's the order for the next calculation. Okay, yeah, so now let's first change to I2. So for I2, the balance change, the interest not change, so the balance will be the B1, the new balance. So we got 59151.03 times the interest, right? Times the interest. Okay, then we got the new interest portion is a little bit smaller, it's 320.40. Okay, so it's 320.40. So that's I2. So now we want P2, right? P2. So is the same monthly payment minus the new interest, I2, 40, and then we got the new principal part, principal portion, 583.57. So this is 800. Sorry, not 5. So 853.57 okay, $7. Okay, and then eventually we get the new balance B2, right? New balance B2. So is the B1 minus, okay, we have to change the whole thing completely, right? Is the B1, the balance after first payment, minus the proportion part, this part, 853.57. And we got the new balance after second payment is 58297.46. Okay, so that's our B2. And then we use B2 to calculate the payment for 3. We use B3 to calculate the payment for payment 4, right? Yeah. And again, for our exam, we don't want too long schedule. This is already long enough. Okay, this is already long enough. Okay, yeah, so that's the finance part. Okay, that's the biggest part in Math 21. Okay, the biggest part in Math 21. So this part you have to do it 3 times. Okay, and then I think you can remember it. Okay, you can remember it. Okay, so the last part of this exam, we will have some picture in the xy plane, and then we want to find the maximum or minimum based on the picture, right? Based on the picture. Okay, so now number 10, you are given the corners of the region, okay, of the region. Okay, so this is point A, B, C, and D. So let's label the xy axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is 4, 3. So x part is 4, y part is 3. So x part is 4, y part is 3. So this is A, right? You go x4 and then go up 3. Then you got A, right? Then you got A. B is 1, 5. 1, 5. So you go to 1 and then go up 5. So here is B. Okay, so if you don't know how to plot this point, learn with tutor, right? Learn with tutor. And then there's the C. Don't go left, right. Just go up 3. So this is C. And then D is just x part is 5. Y part is 0. So just go to 5 and don't move, right? Don't move. So this is our A, B, C, D. That's the region, right? Has these 4 corners. Okay, yeah. First we need a picture. So now what is function? What is the z we want to maximize or minimize? So this question is minimize. We want to do the smallest, right? Smallest. So z is 2.3x plus y. So now let's look at point A. Point A is 4, 3. So that implies x is 4, y is 3. So z is 2.3 times 4 plus 3. So this is 12.2, right? 12.2. So for B is 1, 5. So x is 1. Y is 5, so z is 1 times 4 plus 5, right? So each time you just replace x by here, 2.3 times 1, right? 2.3 times 1, so I did it wrong here, plus 5, right? So we got 7.3, right? 7.3, okay? Yeah. And now for point C, C is 0, 3, so x is 0. Y is 3, so what is z? 2.3 times 0 now plus 3, so this is 3, right? And point D is 5, 0. So x is 5, y is 0, so z is 2.3 times 5 plus 0, so this is 11.5. Okay, 11.5. So now we have 4 corners, so we got 4 values of z. So for A is 12.2, B 7.3, C is 3, and D 11.5. So what's the minimum? This one, point C. Okay, point C. What's the maximum? They didn't ask the maximum, right? Yeah, but maximum is point A. Okay, yeah. So for this region, the maximum or minimum only on these corners. Okay, only on these corners. Okay, so that's the last part, last important part for this exam. Okay, so now this is given corners, right? Given corners. So the next 2 questions, you have to draw the question, write down the linear inequality, draw the picture, and then find the corners, right? Find the corners. Okay, yeah. So now this restaurant has chicken and beef, so we use X for chicken, Y for beef. Okay, yeah, so now what's the cost? So for chicken is $10. So we got X times 10. That's the total of chicken, right? And then for beef, every dish is $15. So if you have Y dishes, so you got 15 times Y, right? Times Y. So that's the cost. And then there is a budget, so it's $1,000. So this cost is less than or equal to $1,000. Okay, yeah. So now the other 2 condition is they're non-negative, right? Non-negative. So you cannot get negative 1 dish of chicken, right? Yeah. So now based on these cost conditions, so we can get a picture, right? We can get a picture. So when we draw the picture, we use not inequality, we use equation, right? We use equation. Okay, so now first, how to find x-intercept? We cover the y part, right? Cover the y part. So 10x is 1,000, right? Just don't look at y part. 10x is 1,000. That's how to find x-intercept. And then don't look at x, you can find the y-intercept. So x is 100 divided by 10, right? And then 15y is 1,000. So y is 1,000 divided by 15. So it's 66.67. Okay, so they are the x and y intercept of the straight line. So x-intercept is 100, y-intercept is 66.67. So now this is the region, right? Bounded by x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. Okay, greater than 0. So now we got a picture based on the cost, right? So now we want to maximize the profit. So we have to write down a formula Z for the profit, right? For the profit. Okay, profit Z is, so for every chicken, you will get $5. So 5 times X for the profit. And then for every beef, you will get $7. So 7 times Y, that's for the profit. Okay, so we want to maximize Z based on these three corners, right? These three corners. So let's call them A, B, C. Okay, so again, for point A is 0, 66.67, right? So X is 0, Y is 66.67. So what is Z? Z is 5 times 0 plus 7 times 66.67. So Z is 466.69, right? 69. And then for the next one, next point B is the origin here, the center is 0, 0. So most cases you can skip that because if they are 0, the Z will be 0, right? Yeah, you know it won't be maxima. You didn't do anything, right? 0 fish, 0 chicken, 0 beef, right? 0 beef. Okay, so X is 0, Y is 0. So Z is 5 times 0 plus 7 times 0, 0, right? 0. Let's look at C. C is 100 and 0. So you go 100 chicken, no beef, right? No beef. So Z is 5 times 100. X is 100. Y is 0 plus 7 times 0. So it is 500. Okay, 500. So now we have 3 values for Z for the corners, ABC, right? ABC. So this is the maximum. So that means we should only do chicken for this question 11 to maximize the profit. Okay, to maximize profit. Okay, yeah. So now what is number 12? Number 12 is just a little bit harder. We have a region bounded by 2 lines, right? Bounded by 2 lines. Okay, it's similar. Bounded by 2 lines. Okay, yeah. So now we have 2 type of toy, right? 2 type of toy. Type A and then type B. And there is still the cost and the profit, right? Cost and profit. So, but we have to make at least, because holiday season, we have to make at least 600 toys. So that gives us an actual condition, actual equation, actual line. Okay, actual line. Okay, so now let's write down the cost part. So the cost part for type A. So let's use X. Toys, and then type B, let's make Y. Type B toys, right? Y type B toys. Okay, so now what is the toys for each toy A? Type A, we got $10. So the total toy cost for the type A is 10x. And then total cost for type B is 20y. And then what's our budget? The budget is $10,000, right? $10,000. So we have to buy these, right? We have to buy these for $10,000, right? Yeah. And another condition is we have to get at least 600 choices. Right? Yeah. So in the number 11, it's just the cost and profit. Okay, we don't have the minimum number or maximum number of dishes. Okay, yeah, but here we have. Okay, we need at least 600, and then we still have x greater than 0, y greater than 0. These two trivial conditions. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now to find the maximum of the profit, we have to draw a picture, right? We have to draw a picture. So we need these two lines. So the first line is 10x plus 20y is 10,000, right? You cover y, you got 10x is 10,000, so x is 1,000. And then you cover x, you got 20y is 10,000. And then you got y is 500, right? Y is 500. So this is the first line, right? 500 and then 10,000. So that's line 1. Now let's change the color. For line 2, right? For line 2. So line 2 is x plus y is 600. So you cover x, you got y is 600. You cover y, you got x is 600. So they are the xy intercepts, right? They are the xy intercepts. So it's 600 here, and then 600 there. So that's the line 2. Okay, line 2. Okay, yeah. So now these two lines have a common point. That's the part you have to use calculator. Okay, that's the part you have to use calculator. We call this P3, right? P3. Okay, so now what are the two regions bounded by these two lines and x greater than 0, y greater than 0? That just means x and y positive x-axis, positive y-axis, right? This is positive x-axis, this is positive y-axis. So we have two triangles, okay? Triangle in this question, right? Triangles. So now how many corners, right? How many corners? We have 5 corners. P1, that's 1. P2, 500 on the y-axis. P3 is in the middle, and then this is our P4, and this is our P5. 5 corners, okay? 5 corners. So we have to find our z for these 5 corners, okay? For minimum and maximum. Okay, so now let's look at what's the profit, right? What's the function z for profit? So now type A, we will get $5, okay, after you sell 1 toy of type A. So we got 5x, that's the profit for type A. And then for type B, we got 10, right? We got 10. So this is 10y, right? 10y. Okay, so that's our profit formula for Z. So now we need P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 to check for Z. Okay, yeah, I don't have enough space, so I will try to make it shorter. Okay, yeah. So this part is exactly the same as number 11 or number 10 after you already know this. Okay, so let's look at P1. So P1 is 0, 600, right? So this is x, this is y, so z is 5 times 0 plus 10 times 600, so this is $6,000, right? That's the profit for P1. And then P2 is 500. So the z is 5 times 0 plus 10 times 500, so this is 5,000. Okay, 5,000. We want to maximize, right? Maximize. So P2 is wrong because P1 is 6,000. Okay, so now let's skip P3 a little bit because we don't know P3. P3 you have to use calculator. Okay, you have to use calculator. So P4 is 600 again, but this is 600 on x part. Y is 0, right? So z will be 5 times 600 plus 10 times 0. So this is 3,000. And then P5 is 1,000, 0. So z will be 5 times 1,000 plus 10 times 0. So this is $5,000. Okay, so now P4 is smaller than P1, P5 is smaller than P1. So now we just need to check P3, right? Check P3. Okay. So now how to find P3? You have to use, does depend on your calculator, right? Does depend on your calculator. Okay, yeah. So if you use TI-36, right, how to find P3? You have to click this button. So you click second, and then TAN button next to the division. Okay, you click second, and then there's TAN button. Then you got a system of linear equation, and then you put these two equations in the calculator, right? In the calculator. Okay, yeah, and then click solve. You will got the coordinate, the value for P3. So P3 is 200 and 400. Use calculator, right? Use calculator. Okay, 200 and 400. So now what's the Z? So this is 200, 400. So if you don't have a fancy calculator, you don't know how to find P3, you just skip it, right? You just skip it. Because this step, you have to have a fancy calculator to do it. Otherwise, it's too hard. Okay, otherwise it's too hard. Then Z will be 5 times 200 plus 10 times 400. So this will be 1,000 plus 4,000, 5,000 again. Okay, so now P3 is still less than P1. So P1 is the maximum. Okay, P1 is the maximum. Okay, yeah, so that's it. That's our last question in the review list. Okay, in the review list. Okay, yeah, so now when we review, you can see number 10, 11, 12, they are similar, right? Yeah, and then from number 4 to number 9, they are similar. Finance questions. Okay, finance questions. The first 3 are just small topics. Okay, so that's it.